Okay guys, before we get started, have you guys seen this missing little girl from New Jersey? Her name is Dulce. She was last seen at the park in that area, and Sarah Galloway. Keep your eyes open. So right now, I'm doing an update on Cupcake, otherwise known as Camille McKinney. Now, firstly, before I get started, I want to say if you don't have anything nice to say, do not stick around here, because the reason why I do this channel is I do it to help people and to get their faces out there. Also, pay attention to the dates. You can only put out the information you have at the time. So right now, we're doing this update because we do have new information since the start of this investigation. So Cupcake, the adorable little 3-year-old, was last seen at a party at Tom Brown Village. She was outside playing with another child about her age and was seen on surveillance camera with 2 men approaching her. And so you can see here there's a man that walks up to the children, and they seem to engage with the children. And later on, you see the children walking off with this guy. But sadly, you only see one child return after they walk out of sight. So she was last seen about 8:30 is what they're saying. But she was last seen on surveillance camera about 7:54 p.m. After they realized that she was missing, they actually called the police, and the police went to search for Cupcake immediately. And police were able to locate one child that was a key witness that actually get this case rolling. It was just a small child, and he said he noticed this car. It was black and blue looking. Then he told police that he seen a barefooted, little feet get into this car when he looked underneath the car. That boy doesn't know it, but he was a tremendous hero and played a key role in everything when it comes to searching for Cupcake. So between the surveillance video that police confiscated and the witness, police were able to make an arrest of 2 people. So the first arrest of Patrick Devon Stallworth, who is 39 years old. So police found on Patrick's phone child obscenities, which was the charges he was arrested on for that moment. But they tried to say, look, he is a suspect, but we're not sure if he plays a role in the kidnapping of Cupcake at this time. For people like myself, we knew exactly he had everything to do with it, but you couldn't say that, and you really have to say they are innocent until proven guilty. The motive and everything was exposed the moment that the police found what they found on his phone. But police have not released a motive. Then the second suspect was arrested, Derek Aisha Brown, who is 29 years old. People were like, is that her name? That doesn't even fit her. And everybody realized there was something kind of sketchy about her name. And it turns out there was. According to what we know, that is fact at this moment, is her. She went by Quintisha Jackson. And according to police, she is well known in law enforcement. And according to law enforcement, she goes by Quintisha Jackson. But for some reason, they had her listed as Derek Brown. Who is Quintisha Jackson? So Brown is the mother of 3 young girls. In July of 2018, she lost custody of her daughters and children, and they were placed with a family member. Now, I'm not positive on this, but this is what we're hearing right now, is they explained that Brown went to a relative's house the next day and took her daughters at gunpoint. So that's how she had previous kidnapping charges. As far as her background, I don't have any confirmation yet. There are tons of rumors flying for this young lady, and it isn't pretty. But once I can confirm it, I'll share it. Right now, she is denying that she had any part of this. And Quintisha, right now, is the girlfriend was dating Patrick at the time of Cupcake, that Cupcake disappeared. Police recovered more surveillance video of Patrick just after her Cupcake disappeared, and it was in a Shell gas station. And it appears that he's coming in and kind of boasting and saying, hey, announcing his arrival. He looks like he's he has a lot of ego, is what I'm trying to say. Definitely, there's no remorse. There's no pity here. In fact, it looks like he just won the lottery. Later on, after he was arrested, he actually made a $5,000 bond. And people are thinking he in an area where that kind of money should have been hard to come up with. If it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, then most likely it's a duck. So anyways, Brown was also bailed out, so they were both bailed out, which really made the community really upset because they felt like justice was not happening. But this is the process. There's many cases that we go over. We see this all the time. We've seen it with Andre McDonald. We've seen Andre McDonald bail out, and then it was a while, and they ended up arresting him again after they found her remains. So the legal process can be frustrating at times, but it always, in most cases, ends up bringing the justice the family needs. So while they were behind bars, they are released back out into the public, and then we continue to search for the little 3-year-old. And during this time that they're released, people are desperate to find Cupcake, and also the father starts to reach out on media, and then we see a glimpse of the mother as well. It was kind of late, but she was interviewed right after her daughter disappeared, and you could see the pain on her face. We also seen footage from people's private phones showing what April was having to deal with. She was upset, which she had every right to be upset, and kind of screaming back at the people around her. Now guys, I have all this, the witness speaking on video on my other videos, and I also have the mother, her interview on my other videos if you want to refer to those, so you can check them out. I don't want to repeat my work. Now I have to say honestly, there's a lot of people that are upset with the mother and both parents actually, because if you watch the footage, the surveillance footage of Cupcake playing with that other child, they're completely by themselves, no supervision. And well, there's a lot of people angry about that. So that was part of this story as well. But regardless, people keep searching for Cupcake. They don't give up, and the chief of Birmingham probably has done one of the best jobs I've seen in a while. He is on this case. So basically, the Birmingham police said that Star Wars Toyota was connected to the scene, and that the vehicle matched the description given by the rest of the children that were in that area, including the witness who had mentioned that he's seen the little people's feet get into that car. According to the children witnesses, they told police that they were giving out candy to the children. Oh my goodness, I think I forgot to mention, but anyway, so Star Wars was charged with 7 counts of child obscenity. I want to say that because I got to be careful how I word things on here. Then was released on the $500,000 bond. Sorry about that, guys. Now let's not forget, let's talk about his defender. According to what the defender had to said, he said that he denies knowing anything about the abduction of Cupcake, and that his client may have an alibi. And I'm telling you what, that scared the mess out of me, because you knew I mean, you don't even need all the evidence, and you realize the connection, the way these pieces fit together is perfect. Now, what was strange about this case was Chief Smith said that investigators had not found a connection between Stallworth, Brown, and the McKinney's family. And as I mentioned earlier, they also said they had not found a motive, but we all know the motive. Most of us do. So we watched Patrick and his attorney speaking, and we just listened to the attorney and wonder, how in the world can you do that for a living? How can you protect a monster like that, especially on a 3-year-old? We watched him speak with reporters at the beginning, and he felt confident that, this guy had nothing to do with the fact that Cupcake was missing. But I have some new news on that one for you later on in this video. So meanwhile, the police were doing grid searches. They were asking the public to come forward and help them in this case. They were very open and engaged with the public, and I thought that was great. So after 1, 2, 3, 7 days, 10 days go by, we finally get some confirmation of where and what happened to the 3-year-old that everybody was so desperately seeking. Chief Smith addressed Birmingham and the nation with news that would just knock us off of our feet, and that they had found little Cupcake. But he was sad to announce that it wasn't the way that they hoped. What you're about to hear rocked the heart of Birmingham. The child's remains were found on Tuesday night in a dumpster parked near an apartment complex where Stallworth and Brown live. The New York Post wrote, "This tragic discovery marked the end of the widespread 10-day search for the girl who was attending a birthday party with her mom outside the housing development when she was abducted. Shortly after she was found, police chief called the media and had a conference. And this is what he had to say. "I can tell you what we believe at this point," Smith said Wednesday during a press conference after McKinney's body was found. "We believe that this was something that they thought about and acted upon, and they saw an opportunity to take a young child, which they did." This was on October 22nd. They also go on to say that Stallworth and Brown were rearrested, and they may be held without a bond. Okay, and also remember when I told you I had some new information on Emory Anthony. So according to this article, Stallworth's lawyer, Emory Anthony, said his client had an alibi and wasn't involved in the kidnapping at the beginning. But after the discovery of Camille's body, he requested to withdraw as his attorney, which I think a lot of us we were very glad to hear he stepped down. I know, guys, that you're innocent until proven guilty. I know this, and you do. I mean, we all know this, but we also feel that at 99.9% chance that he is guilty. So what else did the chief have to say? He explained that the officers have been doing a routine checks of collected trash from certain areas in the city since the beginning of this case. So on October 22nd, the day investigators found the remains of the 3-year-old child in a dumpster, it had been taken to a landfill. So right now they're pretty sure that is Cupcake, but still we're waiting on autopsy reports and waiting for the cause of death. We still don't have those answers right at this time. So thank God, because a lot of the cases that deal with where bodies are going to landfills, they're hard to find. Sometimes they're never found. So I want to say bravo to the Birmingham police. They did an excellent job, especially, arresting him quickly, paying attention to what witnesses said, and just definitely the fact that they acted so quickly made a huge difference in this case. Now, I want to kind of touch over, kind of go over Brown one more time. I don't think I covered everything earlier. So shockingly, let's go over the Brown, the one that is known as Derek Brown. And everybody is saying, this doesn't make sense that that's her name. Now, I didn't finish the story that I was telling you about her 3 children, where she went and held a gun. We don't know who she held the gun to, and kidnapped 3 of her daughters. What happened in the rest of that story? Well, officers found Brown and her daughters a few hours later in Fairfield, Alabama. She had led the police on a chase that ended up colliding with the SUV driven by Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy. In this article, it said that she was not hurt and the children were not hurt, but that's how she ended up with the kidnapping charges. Now, according to a few little tips that they put in the articles, they're saying that Birmingham Police Chief asked Camille McKinney's family to stay out of the spotlight. And I think that was the smart thing to do, because there were people ready to tear them apart. The police said that, they were worried, this is not a movie. This is reality. We didn't want to benefit off of throwing the mother out in front of the camera when they already had very strong leads. He knew exactly what they were doing. The chief said that he knew the puzzle pieces that they had and how they fit together. In other words, he knew most likely it wasn't going to end well. But what really has got them puzzled is they're trying to figure out why they chose this child. And everybody knows that answer. It was because the child was not being watched. It was neglected. And that is the truth of the story, whether it hurts or not. You walk up to the child, you test to see if anybody's paying attention. If they don't, then they come up again, offer the children whatever they offered them, some say candy, and lead them off. And nobody noticed. I'm not saying this to put the mother down, but I'm saying this so that other mothers realize, do not ever leave your children unsupervised, ever. I'm telling you, I've seen people arrested for doing less and neglecting their children. But I believe the cops realized that, she did not do this. She wasn't neglecting a child to the point, I don't know how to put it, guys, but they just knew it wasn't intentional or abusive. It was lack of being a good parent. This is something that happens in that area a lot, and they knew that the mother loved this child and that she would be going through enough once they fit those puzzles together. She will be her worst own punishment, so to be honest with you. But it's really sad, guys. So please, if you know you're going to a party and there's a bunch of kids there, and you notice there are younger parents there that are kind of being neglectful, you can watch children as well. We need to depend on each other to help each other out and look out for one another. That's the most important thing. That's the world I come from. And it doesn't seem to be the way it is today. Today, everybody is out for themselves. Okay, guys, with that being said, I want to remind you that each video that I put out is on the information available at the time. That information can change, and it can change quickly. So when you're covering a story like this, 2 days is a long time, and new information has definitely come in within 2 days. I'm not Superwoman. I can't do every story and update it every second of the day. I think most of us realize that, but I have a few people that are commenting my old videos saying, oh, you got this wrong, you got this wrong. Honey, no, I don't. That's the information that was out at that time. And now I'm updating. So hopefully we do have this video, the where to stay, pretty useful for a little while before we get any more new information. For those of you that are on this channel, you know we started off with the Kelsey Barrett and Savannah Spurlock and Andreen McDonald stories. Those 3 stories mean a lot to me. We will be covering those 100%, especially as trial comes up, which means if there's any alerts or anything, I won't be able to do all of that. I just can't. I'm going to focus on the Kelsey Barrett story coming up. So right now we do have new charges on the McKinney case. I want to get back on this real quick because we're about to end this. I have a lot I got to get done today. So Thursday, Danny Carr announced that Patrick Devon Stallworth and Derek Aisha Brown have both been charged with capital murder of a victim less than 14 years old and the death of 3-year-old Camille Cupcake McKinney. Guys, I am very happy to hear that. I am devastated the child is gone. But if you knew how many stories I covered that people don't get this kind of justice. That Kelsey Barrett, check it out, guys. That is a crazy case. This case has justice coming at least, and I'm happy about that. I am completely devastated that we cannot bring Cupcake back. And she's going to be missed by a lot, and like Malia Davis, never forgotten. So there are far too many of these kind of cases nowadays, guys. You know, I come from a time where you heard stories, but they were once a year, twice a year. But this, we've got AJ, Noah, Malia, Cupcake, Robinson. It goes on and on and on and on. And this should be a wake-up call to our nation. All right, guys. Let's send out our support, our love to this family because they're going through heck. And especially that mom. She's really going to be beating herself up, I'm afraid. But, you know, it's hard to believe that there's people out there that can do these type of things. And sadly, we live in a time where you cannot, I don't care where you're at, where you live, leave your children unattended and unsupervised, ever. I don't care how old they are either. So guys, please look out for each other. I want to send my love, prayers, and I'll try to update you guys as soon as I can. But right now, I will be on that Kelsey Barrett case. And I want to make a shout out to my subscribers and the people I love dearly. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. And don't forget, we will be having several giveaways. I'm trying to get that together now to show that how much I appreciate you guys. All right, I'll see you guys soon.